I'm going to show you. This is an American half-block. Why an American half-block? Have you done this one? One thing about the railway was it was very cosmopolitan. People from all over the world traveled, including Americans. But that's what we're going to do now. What I'd like you to do is take your hand out. Right-handed? You right-handed?
Yes.
There's the silver. You all see the silver half artery? And close your hand and close your eyes. Now imagine you're going back in time, floating. Now 2016. We're floating back in the years, okay? And we're going back to the date you're thinking of. You understand?
Yes.
So let's go back. So we start in 2016. So let's go down, let's go back to the 90s, let's go back to the 80s, and Thatcher, and then let's go back to the 70s and the 60s, the Beatles, and the 50s. Are we going? Keep on going. And you could go back to the late 19th century, and Victorian Britain, the end of Victorian Britain. I don't know where your date is. Stop on the date in your head. Get some images for me in your head. Oh wow! Look, it's sort of slightly modern. It's in transportation, it's in trams. Oh right, can you imagine yourself? I know you're obviously too young. Can you imagine yourself entering onto the overhead railway for me? And you're riding along, spectacular views, ships, cargo. It's incredible. Suddenly, you look down, and you're getting off at Dingle Station, which is underground. You look down and you see an old English penny, because this penny, I think, existed on the date you're thinking, an old English penny. Would that be right? Yes or no? I think so. Okay. So pick up the penny in your head and replace the penny with the $50. Hold the penny and walk out of the station. Excellent. Now whisk through time, forward. Open your eyes. It's 2016. Don't say anything, just open your hand. Look down. An old English penny. Is that an old English penny? Go back to your seat, of course. What's incredible is, and I don't know what date you're thinking of, the date here is the date of the general strike, which was 1926. What were you thinking? Correct. I want us to take an imaginary journey towards the riverfront, okay? And as you go through town, and then you hit the riverfront, and then you look, and you see an elevated railway. Now, we're not train spotters, that old term, train spotters. We're excited about this project. It's a railway, 16 feet high, 50 feet wide. Off into the distance, right along the coast of a port, which, when the railway was around, was one of the largest in the world. Spectacular. A gateway to adventure. All my research on the railway, and myself and Steve interviewed many people, it was the most exciting journey. People I'd say it was the most exciting railway journey on the planet. Okay? So, I don't want to bore you with some of the history, but basically, the British Empire in the 18th and 19th, and early 20th century was the largest empire the world had ever known. Bigger than the Roman Empire, even bigger than the Empire of Alexander the Great. Britain ruled over a quarter, closer to a third of the planet. Liverpool was the second most important city in that whole empire, after London. And at one stage, in the 19th century, Liverpool was the largest port in the world. Now, it's hard for us, especially I'm 53, Stephen's only 21, it's hard for us to imagine how massive this was. Let's take a random date. 1926. That would be a good date. If you went down to the docks, on any given day, you would see ship after ship after ship after ship after ship. Okay? Cargo ships, ocean liners, world famous Cunard, White Star. I mean, it boggles the imagination. For miles, and people rode the railway, not certainly passengers, but many rode the railway just for the thrill, the experience. People came from all over the UK, people came from all over the world to see this railway. It was truly magical, very magical. So, just think about the cargoes. I mean, the mind boggles. You'd see timber from various parts of the planet. You'd see manufacturing plants. You'd see cars. You'd see lorries. You'd see trade carriages. You'd see everything you can imagine on this 5 miles of route, and the big cranes taking all this cargo out and in. You know, this is not boring. This is exciting stuff. And then you hit the ocean lines. You know, the Lusitania, the Titanic, and the White Star Line were in Liverpool. Cunard, obviously, is famous. Massive. The world's greatest ships. And what did you do? You got on the railway and you had the perfect view of these amazing ocean lines. Detail, Dingle, one end, seaport in Liverpool, 6 miles, 17 stations. At the Dingle end, we had a very strange experience of going underground to an elevated railway. Now some of you know the geography in the area, but we had to meet to Dingle. That station, you had to go underground. The tunnel's still there, I believe. And then they went out, and the geography of Liverpool, it became an elevated railway. Had to turn right and move down that back road. Okay? Some boring stuff. The congestion on the road, that's what led to the railway. That was the main reason. Because I've just been talking about the biggest port in the world. The Dock Road had a railway for cargo, and a lot of things going on in trams, and trams for commuters, passengers, and it just got ridiculous. The congestion was terrible, so what they did was they had to come to a solution, and there was talk about an overhead railway, which in 1888 a board was set up called Overhead Railway Company, who took on the powers of the Docks and Harbour Board through a parliamentary act, and thus the idea was born for an overhead railway, which was then built and was opened in 1893. Okay. Well, if I ask this question to you, it depends on the generation. If I said to anybody from Merseyside, who was Merseyside's greatest son? Now, there'd be different answers. I think a lot of people would say John Lennon. Yeah? Some people might say Paul McCoy. Or even my favourite, George Harrison. Well, I'll do that. Okay. But you know, the reason why what's that got to do with the Overhead Railway? Well, myself and Stephen, when we were researching this documentary, we found something very, very interesting. John Lennon, when he wrote his worldwide hit, In My Life. Do you remember that song? This is truly interesting. It's been documented. He wrote the song, and it was a Lennon McCartney song, but John was the song. They always took the credit together. And a document was found with all the lyrics in John's handwriting, and we all know the lyrics. There are places I remember all my life, but some have changed. You know this? Some forever, not forever. Some are gone, and some remain. He's thinking about the past. All these places have their moments with lovers and friends. I still can recall them. Some are dead and some are living in my life. I've loved them all. The Beatles were genius. They were genius. So that is John's. But there's a second verse which didn't make the cut on the record. And it's documented. I did it alone in the studio, just with a ukulele and guitar and stuff, where I added these lyrics. These are true lyrics. Past the tram sheds with no trams, on the number 5 bus into town. Past the Dutch on St. Columbus, to the doctor's umbrella that they pulled down. All these places, and that's it. The Dockers umbrella, as you probably know, is the nickname given to the Liverpool Overhead Railway by the Dockers who lived and worked underneath it. When it was raining, they'd stand up, take shelter, have their fags or whatever, and they also used that railway a lot as well. Just very briefly, obviously I've got to, we want to get into the project that Stephen's been working on so far. Just 2 more points. In an age when political correctness in, say, the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, it wasn't around, was it, political correctness, and it has its good points and it has its bad points in modern society. Here's what's in 1926. You get on the railway in 1926, on any given day, you will see Indians, black people, Chinese people, Europeans, Scousers, Caucasians. It was a cosmopolitan railway. Think about that for its time. That sort of pointed away to the future, in a way. Just that human aspect. And also think about this. All the sailors on all those ships, they were leaving from those various docks, those 17 stations in the various docks along the way. They were leaving for every part of the world. So those sailors were going to any city. So Liverpool and that railway, and that's those 17 stations, people, their last port of call before Hong Kong, Australia, China, wherever, was from the Liverpool Overhead Railway. And I find that exciting as well. Unfortunately, the railway was nationalised in 1940. Well, I'm not saying it was socialist myself, I'm saying unfortunately, but in 1948, under actually Clement Attlee, the Labour government, which introduced the National Health Service, also nationalised the railways. I think it's a tragedy that the Liverpool Overhead Railway was not nationalised because it remained a private company. And because it remained a private company, private companies, as we know, work on profit. It's capitalism. There were some things getting into disrepair, the track, the iron around the track was giving way, and they did an estimate, and it was, at the time, they did this estimate around 1955, it was £2 million. That's a lot money now, but then it's extortion. And there was talk of not do this as a private company. And everyone was like, when the news hit the Liverpool Echo, there was a big headline saying there's a possibility of the Liverpool. No one would believe it. The overhead railway was more Liverpool than the Liver buildings themselves. And people could not believe it was closing down. So, suddenly, the first meeting was held. And here's the beautiful serendipity of this. The first meeting was held to save the railway in the very room where we're trying to, that room where we're talking about it. That's where the first meeting was, the concert room there. And various other meetings, the council got involved, they were useless. In them days, you have the philanthropy of private entrepreneurs saving something. It closed. And on the 30th of December, one day before the end of the year, 1956, at 10:03 p.m., a train left the depot. Another one left Seaforth and Liverpool. And there were times across the pier head at exactly the same time. As they did, the fog horns went out. They continued on the journey, ended up. And a couple of hours later, the station master dingle with a big switch, and the power off, and the overhead was. But the memories of people who rode it are not. Stephen Mueller is a very talented woman. He's worked on movies, he's worked on all sorts of stuff. He's one of the most talented artists I've ever met. And he has created CGI. A reconstruction as good as anything you can see in the movie. Has anyone seen the CGI? That was Stephen's creation. And that led to the first project. Stephen's involved in more projects as well as the documentary. I'm involved in the documentary. And Stephen brought me on board as I'm his mate, but I'm also a historian. And that's when we started working on the Overhead, and it's called Memories.
Yeah. The main reason we are here today is to promote this project. Other than the documentary, we shot the documentary 5 years ago.
Yes, it's been on hold for a long time.
Tried to get funding for when it was in the first museum they were interested. So at the time, it was only when I got a job on funding, so I went down to the years. Now I'm back in to finish it in time. Hopefully, well, it will get finished in time because it's the commemoration of 60 years this year since we came down. We've shot the documentary. It's not a documentary about the Overhead Railway, it's about people's memories of the railway. I felt it was more important to get the information from primary sources, so people that actually remember. We went to a lecture in Liverpool a few years ago that was set up by the museum, and it was by a guy who was born after the railway was made. The people in the audience consisted mostly of people that rode on it. This guy's lecture was very flat, and his information was wrong, and even though the people in the audience knew he was wrong, he didn't want to acknowledge that gave me, that was inspiring, because that made me think, well, these people won't be around for much longer. The information that they've got, it's important. It's very important to history. So we interviewed about 30, 40 people. We got some fascinating stories. We both researched everything that the books are online. We got a lot of information that you cannot find anywhere else.
That was very exciting because, you know, I've been a professional magician for a long time, but I was a historian and a history teacher at college, junior college level, when I was very young, not 20. But I've always loved history, I studied history, and that was the exciting part. You wouldn't find the stuff we found in books. Should we give them one of them? Yeah. Look at the volume.
Yeah.
Do you want to? I'm sure you should. Blitz. The railway's history of Blitz. No, the Nazis. And we were talking to one chap, and he was going, oh yeah, and he says, he's all right, brother, and he said, my brother was a volunteer firefighter, and they hit the overhead, and he was called, and he turned up, and he said, he said, my brother was half, and you imagine the scene, and the fire, and everything else, and he looks around, and he sees a guy with a camera. It wasn't a cine, it was obviously 1940. And he didn't like it. He looked at this guy through this, he just didn't like it. So he put his nose down. And this is the word. He went over to him, and he clocked him. He was a spy. He was a Nazi spy. He was arrested. He was taking photographs of the damage to the railway after the bomb was hit. But you hadn't read that in the book. So that's an example of one of the stories we found. We sort of come across some really interesting characters as well, don't we? And Stephen wants it to be more of the human element rather than the railway. The railway is a byproduct, but it was so blood. We tell people during these interviews, sometimes people will just willingly welling up, crying. This blew me away. We're talking about a railway here. You know? A railway. And then you realised how important it must have been to the people of this area.
There's lots of things that you can't read about. Because, I mean, there was one guy I interviewed who, it was hard to jog his memory, but as we jog his memory, this was somebody that worked on the railway. His home was at the Overhead Railway, and it's on the football team.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And there's nowhere that he worked.
Yeah, but they've never come across that.
I've never found that anywhere.
Yeah, the football team that competed with local teams.
Lots of stuff documentary. we are still looking for more people, still more information. You can never have enough. So we just have to do the best of it. We're always looking for people to take part and share their memories. What's the beginning?
I'm just trying to think.
Performers, Christmas and things like that.
Yeah, there was one guy actually used to, from one of the docks. We haven't been out to bar, we heard that. He used to jump off the docks. He always used to drive through trying to find out about this guy. It was like before he used to jump into the docks from the railway barrel. Obviously it was illegal, but we've heard that story recently. That'd be interesting. Other people, Hank, the guy who found this big country star in the 1950s in New York, Hank Waters. He was a big country star. Does anyone recognise that name? So he was getting on and he talked about the railway in great detail. And I had some very interesting side stories about the Beatles. We always, come back to the Beatles. They're not going to be featured at all in the documentary, but I will say this from my research over, well, initially 5 years ago, and maybe a bit more lately, once Steve decided he wanted to take up the project again. All my research does suggest that this was an incredible thing which we lost. And it's funny, that desk for 2 days, people coming over, and what's the first thing? About 90% of the time, the first thing everyone says the same thing. I think about two ladies, the 2 old ladies I just mentioned, and I remember a line from them. Margaret's the gospel pianist, a very posh voice. I remember that she said, when they took away our railway, it's all hard. I could see the emotion in the voice. As well as a documentary, Stephen's also got some other stuff as well.
Since I've been in the place with the contract, I've been working with Manchester studios, and a lot of people want to get involved in the project and take it in different directions. So by the end of the year, what we'd like to do is, I'm going to be looking for help, people to invest, to just donate, we're going to develop a virtual reality app. There's a guy from the European Space Agency that's developing this. They're currently doing Stonehenge and St. Paul's Cathedral. The idea is to enable this potential to put on a headset and put you into that place. So we take this work out, we're going to put people technically virtually into the overhead railway. We're going to set up an exhibition so people can go in and use it. They will also be able to download it. It's the virtual reality app. We're looking at getting a life-size projection down at the event. So obviously when it's dark, you will see the overhead railway. Like a life-size illumination. It'll be projected onto the floors, maybe suspended by wheels or maybe mist. It can be done. The other thing we're looking at doing is we're going to help with the 3D print to get some real models made in the exhibition. So what we're doing is basically just trying to get people aware of it, because the people who are running in the city are not interested in it. They're just you try, you just shut the door on us.
Yeah, it was a bit disappointing 5 years ago when well, if you go anybody, the museum, the new museum, had apparently they were going to open an overhead railway exhibit, which is great. We've been there, but this was before that.
This was right before.
And Stephen had been on radio, being interviewed on radio in Merseyside about this virtual reality overhead railway. Now, and he's a modest guy. He's had compliments from all over the place. Well, about this particular piece of art. It's the only one in the world that exists on the overhead railway. Now, can you imagine that, and then you go to a curated museum? Everyone who says that it shouldn't happen are right, it shouldn't happen. It's one of the biggest mistakes in Liverpool modern history. It's in our railway to come down. And it's easy for us to talk about that cerebral, but when you interview people and you get an emotional reaction, how 60 years later, that as a historian, you don't get an emotional reaction. 60 years later, boy did the population love that railway. So Yeah, it shouldn't have gone down. I think this is a massively important project because, as Stephen said, these people are not going to be with us much longer. Some of them from 4 years ago are gone. And if we can capture their memories, that's something to be proud of, I think, for posterity, really. And, I did all the interviews. This guy is very good in terms of his art and his skill. I can guarantee you the documentary will be special. Very special. Are you?
This year, before we want to get everything ready before the end of the year.
Yeah, how long have we got? We've got 4 minutes. Okay, this is one we talk about the history books. Not bad. The last thing I'm going to say is, and this is very exciting, there's only going to be one piece where, and everything's just going to be on the people getting interviewed. You're not going to see anyone like me interviewing, you're just going to see the people talking. And there's only going to be one piece which is not going to be that. And it's because of one of those things we found out. We were reading at the Liverpool like it was a commemoration, 30, so it was 30 years old, it was 30 years after the close of the world. And I had all these stories, I found it fascinating. And I had the story of a little boy, Mr. Aspen, I can't remember his first name, say John Aspen, who was riding on a horse with a friend who was like 16, 17, he was only 9, down the dock road in 1941. And a Messerschmitt came round. You all know what Messerschmitt is, it's a German aircraft. Came down, there's been some controversy, but this guy came down the dock road. They think it was just a renegade, young 20-year-old pilot saying, I'm going to have a laugh. Yeah. And he came down, and he opened fire down the dock road. Now, apparently no one was killed. And this lad remembers jumping off the horse and cart with his mate and hiding under the carriage of the horse and cart. And he says he still remembers the bullets. What an amazing story that is. Is it really true? So, it was in the newspaper. It was in the newspaper, so it must be. So what we did was, I said, no, so I did my little job, so I got a phone and trapped Aspen up. And I did it. Phone call. I thought I was mad. And sometimes I get the name. Does he know anything about the Overhead Railway? What are you talking about? I got 40 calls, and then on whatever it was, 35, 40 calls, our lad said, that's my dad. And so we went to Ellesmere Port, and we phoned him. That everything was true in that story. And Messerschmitt, renegade Messerschmitt, had come down the dock road, over the overhead railway, opened fire, and what Stephen did with Stephen's a filmmaker, he's actually worked on movies, not just documentary filmmaking. Stephen has put together a reconstruction of the Messerschmitt coming round, opening fire, and we got live actors, children, to play the parts. We've already done it all.
It's not, you can't see it.
So we're recreating that scene. That's the only part of the documentary that's not the people. So, yeah.
All the actors.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's the only part of your creating.
Yeah.
So we hope you enjoyed the talk. And thanks for coming.